What's up, Space Pirates? I'm your captain, the chronically charismatic Dr. Disaster, and with everybody talking about all the money that Disney has lost as a company lately, I thought it would be interesting to talk about the overall box office failure of the MCU's Phase 4 and Phase 5 so far, aka the MCU. Ever since that moment in Avengers Endgame, you know the one I'm talking about, where they had to go out of their way to show all the strong, powerful women on screen at the same time, that moment where I heard half the audience chuckle at my local theater while the other half groaned, from that moment on, everything was changed. That is when the MCU was born. With that in mind, I wanted to get a definitive look at all the money these morons have flushed down the toilet at Disney trying to push female-driven characters and stories into a largely male space, culminating in the ultimate failure that is the Marvels. In the end, this is the equivalent of making a movie about Ken from the Barbie universe, marketing it to males, and then wondering why it failed. In this video, we are going to do a deep dive into the profits and losses of each and every MCU movie in order to determine how much money this pandering has cost Disney. I've said it a million times by now, this pandering, it is all just a bunch of gimmicks, and gimmicks have diminishing returns. That is why the MCU is such a bloody failure.
Oh yes, lovely.
Pandering.
And look. More.
Pandering. As always, like this video to help me defeat the evil algorithm monster, and follow me on X at Dr. Disaster1. We've got a lot to cover with this subject, so we're going to dive right into the analysis. The first film of the MCU was Spider-Man Far From Home. Now, according to Box Office Mojo, this movie made $1,131,927,996 at the worldwide box office. That's a pretty hefty sum, but according to this article here from Investopedia, whose link I will place in the description, Disney does not make anything at all from the proceeds of a Spider-Man movie. It all goes to Sony. Read it here and weep if you're somehow rooting for Disney to have done well in the MCU Phase 4. Disney does not profit from the box office receipts of Sony-produced Spider-Man films, but stands to gain from merchandise sales. So with that in mind, let's move on to the next MCU movie, Black Widow. According to Box Office Mojo, this film made $379,751,655 at the box office. Granted, this came out at the height of the coup, and it was simultaneously released on Disney+, so I won't make fun of it too hard, but still, the numbers are the numbers. So, about $380 million it took in, and according to Google, the production budget was $288.5 million, and the marketing budget was roughly $100 million. That means Black Widow made $380 million on a $388.5 million budget, leaving it with only an $8.5 million loss. But Dr. Disaster, I hear you all saying, that is not how box offices work. And of course, you're right. Movie studios only take in roughly half of ticket sales from the box office. The rest goes to the movie theaters, who obviously won't show the films for free. That means that Disney took in $190 million on a $388.5 million spend, leaving the company with a loss of $198.5 million.
That's a spicy meatball!
Moving on to the next MCU film, we've got Shang Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Box Office Mojo says that movie made $432,243,292, and Google tells me it had a production budget of somewhere between $150 and $200 million. In the interest of giving Marvel the benefit of the doubt, let's call it the low end of the spectrum and just say it was $150 mil. Google also says its marketing budget was only $11.2 million for whatever reason, so when we combine these numbers, that means they spent about $161 million. If Disney takes home $216 million from the box office, then that means this was their first profitable film from the MCU at about $55 million.
I'm so happy for you.
But the next movie up is The Eternals, which made $402,064,899 at the box office, according to Box Office Mojo. And according to Google, it had a production budget of $236.2 million, and I couldn't find the exact numbers for a marketing budget on a reputable site, so we will conservatively estimate that it was $100 million, which is standard fare for Disney movies. This means then that Disney's share of the box office would have been $201 million on a spend of $336.2 million. So this film lost them about $135 million.
And then, thought we were done with the buzzer.
Next up was SpiderMan No Way Home, which Box Office Mojo says made damn near $2 billion. But once again, Disney gets nothing from Spider-Man movies. It all goes to Sony, which is too bad because this was one of the few characters that people apparently really want to pile into the theaters to see. But after that, we had Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which had legs in theaters despite the fact that I thought it was a pretty bad movie. The film made $955,775,804, and Google says its production budget was $294.5 million, and once again, we will go with $100 million for its marketing since there are no hard numbers which show what it was precisely. This means that on a spend of $394.5 million, Doctor Strange made Disney about $478 million for a profit of $83.5 million.
Oh, goody.
For those of you keeping track at home, the current tally of Disney's MCU is far in the negative. Don't worry, I will tally it all up at the end. Next up is Thor: Love and Thunder. That film did $760,928,081 on a production budget of $250 million, and Google says it cost $100 million to promote. If we break this down, then Disney took home $380.5 million on a total spend of $350 million, giving them a profit of $30.5 million. The final film of Phase 4 was Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, which pulled in $859,208,836. According to Google, the total spend between marketing and production on the film was a whopping $500 million. So, despite its high box office gross, the film actually lost money for the studio. Disney took $429.5 million on their spend of $500 million. So, they lost $70.5 million on the film.
That's too bad.
And then we get to Phase 5, where the numbers really aren't looking so hot for the MCU thus far. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania made $476,071,180 while having spent $200 million on its production and at least another $100 million on its marketing, according to Google. This means that they took home about $238 million on a budget of $300 million, so they lost $62 million on this movie.
Oh, what a loser!
And that brings us to Guardians of the Galaxy 3, the only film this year from Disney to have made any money. They took in $845,555,777 on a total budget of $350 million according to Google. So Disney took home about $423 million on a spend of $350 million, meaning they profited $73 million.
Whoop-de-doo! What does it all mean?
And finally, we come to the biggest flop of them all. The Marvels, which was released just a few weeks ago. According to Box Office Mojo, as of this recording, the movie has brought in just $187,860,809. For the sake of giving them their best shot at profitability, let's say that somehow they pull off a miracle and get to $225 million. I think they're going to struggle to even hit 200, but let's say they somehow manage to get to 225. If they somehow achieve that, Disney will take home a paltry $112.5 million compared to their total spend of about $330 million. If you want a more detailed breakdown on how those numbers work out, check out my video on the definitive financial analysis of the Marvels. In total, the film stands to lose $217.5 million, and that's being generous with the numbers.
I don't care what universe you're from, that's gotta hurt.
So now for the total count. If we add all of these movies up together, these films have cost Disney $441.5 million. Think of all the work that went into those films. Costume designs, writing, acting, directing. Disney poured a lot into them, and yet here we are, knocking on the doorstep of $500 million in losses. That is incredible, considering how high they were riding during the Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame films just a few years ago, and considering the amazing brand recognition that they have. But this is what they get for trying to push female storytelling into what is a traditionally male-oriented space. They have no audience for this, and it is showing. People are tuning out. A lot of folks held on for a while, a lot of the MCU diehards wouldn't let go, and they'll still go to something like Guardians of the Galaxy, but this MCU stuff has turned people away, to say nothing of the crap that they're putting out on Disney+. Marvel is dead, Disney is dying, and you guys can now see why I've been saying this. Have a good one, me hearties. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your captain is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.
More lumber spread.